Pradeep?
Yes, sir.
Sir, you can come
Sir,
to
you can
live.
come live.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall we start?
Shall we start, sir? Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Nature Club of
Nature Club of Rajapalayam.
Rajapalayam. On behalf of
On behalf of coordinator
and P.R.
and
Ramji,
P.R. Ramji,
I invite
I invite
Mr. Nirit
Mr.
Datta
Nirit Datta
for this
for
webinar
this
on the
webinar on
topic
the topic
Guardians of the
Guardians
Wild.
of the Wild.
Welcome, sir. And now inviting our principal in search, Mr. N. Ramesh, sir, to welcome this webinar.
Good afternoon, all of you. It's a great pleasure to inaugurate and felicitate this program. I appreciate our Nature Club coordinator P.R. Ramji for organizing this type of awareness program for students. I congratulate and thank you our resource person, Nirit Datta, and he is going to talk he is going to give a talk on Guardians of the Wild. So on behalf of our college management, principal and students, I appreciate and congratulate the resource person and the organizers and the students and the participants of the Nature Club. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Is the time to give another welcome address by our principal, Dr. R. Jayanna.
Good afternoon to one and all. Really very happy that the conservator of our wild and guardian of our wild, Mr. Honorable Nirit Datta, who is the source of inspiration for us. By his appearance itself, it shows that he have the patience in everything, in preserving the nature, even flora and fauna and everything. Really, sir, we are you are a source of inspiration for all of us, sir. Definitely, the inspirable talk, it will be enlighten our students and it will open a new epoch-making event in our club. On behalf of students and Raju's College, we are welcoming you, sir. We are very happy to introduce you to be the chief guest in this session. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Sir, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay, I just want a confirmation. Is my audio completely fine and my video?
So fine, sir. Both is fine, sir.
Okay. Now, I hope all the students are able to listen to me. Raise your hand if you're able to listen to me. The boy sitting in the front row, please come on, let's focus. Because one thing that I'm going to promise you is today, I know you have been attending classes since morning, and today your teachers have come and told you there is a session, you have to attend the session. See, I've been an engineering student myself, I've been a college student myself. I know how these webinars and training sessions and workshops are boring. I know. During my times, had my teacher told me that there is a webinar from 2 o'clock, I would have run away to my home. But thank you so much for not running away to your home and being a part of the audience. And one thing that I can promise you is I'm not going to teach you something, or I'm not going to make this session boring. We are going to talk as if we are friends. I'm going to discuss certain things that I've learned all over my 8 years of experiences in wildlife conservation and environmentalism. I'm just going to pass down my knowledge to you and try to tell you certain things that rarely anybody in India is talking, and that is very much needed. So I again want a final see. whenever I deliver sessions or talk shows to students like you across India, I've trained 22,000 people across the country in the past 2 years. So whenever I interact with students like you, I have only one condition. Make sure that for the next 45 to 50 minutes, you pay complete attention to me. Even your ex, your girlfriend might be sending you a text on Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp. Make sure you don't attend to all those texts. Make sure you put complete focus to me. I know a lot of people are laughing when I use the term girlfriend and boyfriend. So, and this is how the session is going to be. It's going to be very interesting, very exciting, and interactive based. So, the only thing that I want from you is your complete attention, and that is how I can give my energy to you. So, again, one final confirmation before I move ahead. Am I completely audible to each and every student in the hall? I can see you on the camera. Just raise your hand once again. Okay. To people in the front row, please make sure, two guys sitting on in red clothes, make sure that you pay complete attention. And so here we begin. Now, you have to understand one thing. I hope English is easily understandable to each and every one of you. One thing, please try to get inside your head. The reason I conduct such session is I want people to be leaders. Now, if I talk about the coordinator of your nature club, Ramji sir, I've rarely seen people in the country, educators in the country, teachers. I think my voice just got broken. Is everything fine? Can anybody confirm the internet connection? It's fine, right? Please anybody raise your hand to confirm whether the audio is completely fine.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
Okay. So, if I talk about your club coordinator, Ramji sir, I've really seen such teachers in the past. I've rarely seen such teachers who take so much of interest in wildlife, environment, and for the students and do so much of things. So, first of all, kudos to your club coordinator, Ramji sir. Can we have a huge round of applause for Ramji sir? Because to be very honest, let me share you a very small story and why Ramji sir should be an example to all of us. Whenever I go to colleges and school, I always talk about one particular thing. Please try to get this thing inside your head. I talk about one particular thing in every college and school. That is leadership. What is leadership? What exactly is leadership? I've gone to a lot of colleges when I used to be in my initial days, when I started my journey as a conservation speaker. A lot of colleges used to reject me because there the teachers used to tell me, oh, my students are engineering students, they are art students. What is the point of teaching wildlife and environment? Go and teach to the biology students. Go and teach to the conservation students. So very few teachers are there in the country who actually knows that how the education system is important to educate students like you towards wildlife, environment, and the whole planet Earth. And Ramji sir is one of them. I'm really glad. This is the reason why we have such a good friendship. This is the reason I respect him so much. I think a bit of network issue. I hope the audio is fine now. So one thing that I always expect from students, is everything fine? The audio fine? If there is any network issue, please let me know once. Can anybody confirm whether the network is completely fine? My audio is completely fine?
Yeah, right now fine, sir. Hello? Hello? Can you hear me, sir?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, my audio is completely fine, right?
Yeah, sir.
So was there any breakage in between, any disturbances in between? Hello?
Sir, fine now, sir.
Okay, we can go ahead. Okay. So the sole motto of today's session is going to be all about leadership. Now, as promised, I'm only going to talk for 40 to 45 minutes or max to max 50 minutes. I'm not going to take much of your time. So make sure you kindly pay attention, because what you're going to learn today is something that you're going to implement right from tomorrow, right? Now, what I mean by leadership. Now, I've seen a lot of people in the country, a lot of people who work with me who will appear right in front of me for once or twice in a year. They will plant 10 trees and then they will go away. So in 1 year, they will plant 10 trees or they will plant 20 trees and then they will vanish. And what they do is they call themselves as environmentalists and wildlife conservationists. Now try to get this thing inside your head that you don't need to be somebody from the wildlife science background or biology background or forestry background in order to be called yourself a wildlife conservationist or an environmentalist. I believe that if you're someone who removes that plastic waste from a water body, or if you're someone who doesn't break away that nest of a bird that has been built in your home, or if you're someone who refrains from using plastic straws and plastic bags, or if you're someone who removes a small snake from the middle of the road, I believe you're a wildlife conservationist. I believe you're an environmentalist. You have to understand this particular fact that it's our small acts of responsibility which matters the most. Now, I'll just take two examples. Recently, you might have heard about the glacial burst that happened in Uttarakhand. There was a huge flood, and more than 200 people are considered to be dead. How many of you know about the incident? Please raise your hand up once. How many of you know about the incident? Raise your hands. How many of you don't know about the incident? Raise your hands. So I'll tell you recently what happened. I think it happened a week back, 7 to 8 days back in Uttarakhand. A huge glacier melted, and that was actually very abnormal because at this point of the time, glaciers don't melt like that. A huge glacier melted, and what happened? It sent a huge flash flood down the stream in Uttarakhand and destroyed a lot of houses, a lot of villages. A lot of people were trapped in tunnels, and more than 200 people have been feared to be dead. And such incidents have been happening for a very long period of time in the past 10 years. Like this in Uttarakhand, another flood happened around 4 to 5 years back in Kedarnath. Another example that I will take right in front of you is the floods that happened in Kerala. How many of you know about the recent floods that happened in Kerala? Raise your hands up. How many of you know the recent floods that happened in Kerala? A lot of people were dead. So all these incidents that have been happening in India, these are not natural disasters. People think it's natural disaster. Governments claim it natural disaster, but isn't a natural disaster. It's a man-made disaster. It's all about climate change. It's all about global warming, and this is what is ruining the earth. And you might be thinking that you alone, how can you change the fate of planet Earth? Now, this is a very important point that I'm going to state. Please understand this thing. When you're working towards biodiversity, when you're working towards wildlife and environment, don't ever think you're working to protect planet Earth. The honest judgment is planet Earth does not need our protection. We are not the masters of planet Earth. The planet Earth does not need our protection. We are planting trees. We are working towards global warming and climate change. We are working towards biodiversity, environment, and wildlife to make sure that the earth is a habitable place for we humans by the year 2050. We are working hard to make sure that by the year 2050, humans are able to survive in this planet Earth. You say in Rajapalayam district, I hope you know about Chennai, you know about Tamil Nadu, you know about the scarcity of drinking water in Tamil Nadu. How many of you know about the situation? The scarcity of drinking water in Tamil Nadu, Chennai, and remaining places. Raise your hands up. How many of you know about it? Raise your hands up. I'm very surprised that very few people know about it, but let me tell you a stat. Chennai comes under the top 5 places in the whole world which has the less amount of groundwater. So there is very less drinking water available in Chennai. I think a camera disappeared, so can anybody confirm that whether my audio and video is completely fine? Camera just disappeared. Can anybody confirm whether the audio video is fine?
Sir, your idea is fine.
Okay. So, what I was discussing was when you work towards climate change, global warming, planet Earth, you are not working to protect the planet Earth. You're working hard to make sure that the Earth remains a habitable place for we humans by 2050. Now, why I call this event the Guardians of the Wild is I've been carrying on this event for the past 2 years where I totally talk about leadership and management in biodiversity conservation. It does not matter which stream you're from. You might be from the commerce background, you might be from the engineering background, you might be from the humanities background, you might be from the arts background. It does not matter. Because when it comes to working towards wildlife, environment, and planet Earth, everybody is on an equal front, right? Wildlife and environment is one such place where you're not discriminated on the basis of your caste, your creed, your sex, your religion, your race, and your nationality. It is all about working together. Now, I'll just tell you a simple concept that is called the clapping concept. Now, when you clap with a single finger, it makes a small amount of noise. Imagine all of you 100 sitting inside a room, you're clapping with a single finger. It will make a small amount of noise. Now, next, you clap with 2 fingers, it will make more noise. Next, you clap with 3 fingers, it is going to make more and more noise. Then you clap with 4 fingers, it is going to make more noise. And finally, when you clap with 5 fingers, it is going to make the loudest possible noise. So what exactly is the difference between clapping with 5 fingers and clapping with a single finger? Clapping with single finger means when you're trying to work alone. And clapping with 5 finger means when you're trying to work as a team. The biggest problem of India, I don't care about other countries because I'm an Indian, I'll care about what is happening in my country. I don't want to poke my nose in other countries, right? So if I talk about my country, the biggest problem that I find is lack of leadership. And what does leadership mean? Leadership means you don't work as a single entity. You take a group of people along with you, you work as a team. What can be done by a single person in 10 days? What can be done by a single person in 10 days can be done by 5 people in one day. Now, imagine you're planting 100 trees in 5 days. A team of 10 people are planting 100 trees in 5 days. Then just imagine if you have a team of 100 people and you're working together for a one common goal, that is planet Earth, you can easily plant 500 trees within 2 days instead of 90 trees in 5 days when 100 people are working together. So the whole motive of this session is going to be leadership, how to be a leader, why leadership is important. Because again, let me state the same old point. The biggest problem that I find in my country is lack of leaders, lack of communities. By community, I mean group of people trying to work together in order to solve one single problem. Now, I just want people to raise, and how many of you have been a part of my previous sessions? Please raise your hand up. How many of you have been a part of my previous sessions? And how many of you have not been a part of my previous session? Raise your hand up. Okay, so I'll explain you certain things. Now, I'll try to show you what exactly community means. Now, you might be thinking the biggest question that I get from people is, the most common questions that I get from people is, sir, how can I contribute towards wildlife and environment? Sir, how can I work hard towards biodiversity? Sir, how can I be an environmentalist? I believe you don't need anybody's support. All you need is proper knowledge, proper education, ideas, and team. Now, if I talk about information and knowledge, let me tell you something interesting. You don't need to do any course. You don't need to get enrolled into any colleges to learn specially about wildlife and environment. Everything, every research material, every course material, every education material is there available on the internet. You go to the World Wildlife Fund website, you go to the United Nations website, everything that you need to learn, need to know is there on the internet. So if there is any confusion that where I'm going to learn all these things from, all you need to do is take an internet connection, use your phone, and use the internet connection wisely. You might be using internet connection to watch Netflix or movies. Spend a bit of time, take out a bit of time to watch videos, informative videos from where you can get knowledge, right? So I will discuss only 2 projects of mine with you, and then you will understand that what I actually have for you and what I actually want to tell you. So it has been almost 1 year. It has been almost 1.5 years when I carried out a very highly successful project, and it was one of my very initial projects that gave me a lot of attention across the country because a lot of people were willing to join. Now just try to understand that how I figured out a problem, tried to figure out the solution, and then I implemented the solution. The biggest problem of human is we always keep on talking about the problem. Everybody talks about global warming and climate change. Everybody talks about pollution. Everybody talks about government policies. I don't want to do that, because only keeping on talking about the problem and blaming the government isn't going to work out. If you know what people, majority of the people in the country does is they are social media warriors. Their only activism is to social media. But when it comes to working in the real world, I find lack of people who are willing to work in the real world. People are ever ready to share posts and stories on their Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. But when it comes to working in the real world, saving animals, protecting animals, planting trees, I rarely find people who are willing to work hard. And this is where I'm pained, because what the world needs is real world warriors. Social media warrior or social media activism isn't enough to protect planet Earth. Of course, it is good. It gives you a lot of knowledge and information, but you have to, you have to reciprocate your social media activism with real world activism. Now, what I did, you will understand that how easy it is going to be for you to do such activities. So I used to say in Calcutta in those days, since I'm Bengali, I'm from Calcutta. So in those days, I was back in home. So I visited, 3 to 4 cafes in, food joints or cafes in Calcutta in 2 or 3 days. And I figured out that there is a high usage of plastic straws and plastic bags. Plastic bags were being used for packaging. Plastic straws were being used for beverage. Now just try to imagine, if you're drinking a Coca-Cola, if you're drinking a Pepsi, if you're drinking a lemon soda, do you actually need a plastic straw? Do you need a plastic straw? Raise your hand. Yes or no? If you're drinking any beverage, if you're drinking a juice, do you need a plastic straw? If you need a plastic straw, don't raise your hand. If you don't need a plastic straw, raise your hand. If you don't need a plastic straw, raise your hand. Got it. So just imagine if there is somebody who still, drinks their Coca-Cola or Pepsi or coconut water or their lemon juice or any juice using a plastic straw, then boy, I really consider you as a baby, because it's only babies who use plastic straws. I don't use plastic straws, even when I'm drinking coconut water with such a huge beard. See, you might be thinking that this guy looks like a terrorist. He has such a huge beard, I know. But when I eat my food or when I drink juices, I have a huge issue, because everything gets stuck on my beard. So it's very difficult. But instead of that, in spite of that, whenever I have my coconut drink or coconut juice directly from the coconut, I drink it directly. I don't use plastic straw, even though the water might trickle down my beard and make it more shiny. But jokes apart, the most important thing is, when I went to those cafes, I saw there was high usage of plastic straws and plastic bags. I had an idea. I went to the manager of the cafe and I asked him, "Hey, boss, you have paper straws, you have paper bags. Why do you need plastic straws and plastic bags?" That manager was very polite to me, and he said, "Sir, when we go to the market to buy paper straws and paper bags, those are very costly to us. So 100 rupee packet of plastic straw comes with around 200 plastic straws, and 100 rupee packet of paper straws comes with around 80 to 90 paper straws. So of course, paper straws and paper bags are very costly compared to the plastic straws." Now what I did was, I did a bit of research that where do these managers of cafes actually get these paper straws and paper bags from. I realized the problem was middleman. Now just imagine, you are managers. All of you sitting in the auditorium are managers of a cafe, right? Try to understand this thing very clearly. Now, boss, it does not matter. You score 30%, you score 40%, 50%. You are weak in maths. You don't love to attend class. Does not matter. This is something that anybody can do, right? So I figured out there was a problem of middleman. Now, just imagine all of you are managers of cafe. You are buying those paper straws and paper bags from me, and I'm the middleman. Now, what basically happens first? The paper straws and paper bags gets manufactured from a factory. Now what happens? They are bought by middlemen or dealers. The dealers raises the price and then sells it to you. So I will buy the paper straws and paper bags from the manufacturer, and next what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell it to you by raising the price so that I can get a profit. This was the huge issue. So what I did was, the next 4 days I called up random factories and manufacturers of paper bags and paper straws across India, and I struck a deal with 10 paper bags and paper straw manufacturers. The deal was they are going to directly supply the paper straws and paper bags to the managers of these cafes, to the owners of these cafes. So what happened earlier, for 100 rupees they were getting 80 paper straws. Now for 100 rupees they're getting 180 paper straws, because I removed the concept of middlemen. So these middlemen like me raises the price of the paper straws and paper bag by 50%, right? So now earlier from the middleman, you guys used to buy a packet of plastic, a packet of paper straw for 100 rupees, which had 80 paper straws. Now you're going to buy a packet of paper straws for 100 rupees, which will have 180 paper straws. Same goes for paper bags. So what I did was I wanted to do an experimental project. I got in touch with 30 of my followers on Instagram, whom, the most interesting thing, with whom I have never ever been in touch. I've never met them ever personally, face to face. All I know about them is through my social media profile, because they used to follow me on Instagram. I shared the idea with them, and within the next 2 days, we formed a team. And we wanted to do an experimental project and send a message across the country. And that project worked brilliantly for us. Now, what the project is all about, these 30 people, including me, there were 31 people. In the next 30 days of the month, we got tied up to 53 cafes across India. We got tied up to 53 cafes and food joints across India. Now listen to this very carefully. Even you can do this in your state. The team of 31 people got tied up to 53 cafes and food joints across India. And what the tie-up was all about, we gave them a certificate. The tie-up was all about a good bonding. It was all a tie-up of all about goodwill and trust. So the managers and the owners of this cafe agreed to use paper straws and paper bags after our team convinced them for 1 day and 2 day. And what we did was we got them in touch with the manufacturers of paper straws and paper bags. So number one, these owners and managers of these cafes decides to stop using plastic straws and plastic bags and start using paper straws and paper bags, and they start getting all these paper straws and paper bags at a cheap rate directly from the manufacturers. So our team was, they were establishing a communication between the cafe owners and the manufacturers so that they can directly get those items from the manufacturer itself at a very cheap rate. So in the next 30 days of the month, we got tied up to 51 cafes and food joints across India. Now, just try to understand the impact of this 1 month experimental project by a team of 31 people. Just try to understand the impact. When we did a mathematical calculation, we realized that after this project and after this tie-up with 53 cafes, our team managed to save 5.3 lakh plastic straws from getting disposed into the environment, 4.8 lakh plastic bags from getting disposed into the environment. When we did a calculation, we talked with every managers and cafe owners that every year on an average how many customers you have, every month how many customers you have, how many takeaways you have. We did a mathematical calculation and we realized we stopped 4.8 lakh plastic bags from getting disposed into the environment, 5.1 plastic straws from getting disposed into the environment just by a project of 1 month by 31 people. Just imagine if if 100 students from your college decides to do this project, what is going to be the impact? There might be a lot of food cafes and joints and around your place in Rajapalayam. All you need to go is go to the cafes, talk to the owners, understand the problem, get them in touch with the manufacturers of paper straws and paper bags, and get your work going. So I hope you can understand that just a team of 31 people in 1 month, what huge impact they did. And we are all common people like you. I'm a common people like you. I have a background in engineering. If I want to do something, I get a knowledge about it. I go through Google. I talk to a lot of people. I get trained myself. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I try to do it myself. Then I go out and teach people and ask them to do it. For the past 2 years, I have mentored over 12 plus NGOs across India, and I help them do grand projects. And the reason why I always focus on leadership is this is called community building. This is exactly what I talk about, community building. You see over here, I built a community of 31 people, and in 1 month we created such a huge impact. Just a team of 31 people out of a population of 7 billion in India, a team of 31 people did so much of impact. This is what you call community building. This is how you build a community, you build a team, and this is what you call leadership. There are crores of wildlife and environmental volunteers in the country. Now, what do I mean by volunteering? Every month or every 2 months, they will appear from the blue. They will just appear like a ghost. They will plant two or three trees. They will put some quotes on internet about how to save wildlife and environment, and they will call themselves a wildlife conservationists. I call them volunteers. For me, leaders are someone who every day takes a positive action towards wildlife and environment, whether it's at their home or whether it's with other people. And I believe charity begins at home. What you practice at home is what is you going to preach to other people. If you're willing to preach other people, if you're willing to teach other people, if you're willing to motivate and encourage other people to take positive actions towards wildlife and environment, first you have to make sure that charity begins at home. You practice those things at your place. A lot of people might be turning on the shower and the tap and dancing inside the washroom, singing random songs from South Indian movies, and you waste liters and liters and liters of water. Charity begins at home. I have seen a lot of people, even if I talk personally about me, I have steel plates to eat food. I have steel plates to eat food at my place. I have practiced it a couple of times, but I still don't talk about it with people because I don't practice it myself. But recently I was in Chennai for 1 month due to a client project. One thing I figured out in Chennai, which I entirely loved and which I rarely see in the country, was wherever I went outside to eat food, they never served me food in steel plates. They always served me food in banana leaves. They always served me food in banana leaves. Now, why is it very important is, on an average, every Indian household wastes 8 to 9 liters of water every day just by washing dishes. I hope you know what is the importance of 8 to 9 liters of water per household. Every household wastes 8 to 9 liters of water every day washing their utensils. Now here, when you use a biodegradable substitute like a banana leaf, there is no need to wash it, right? All you do is just throw it away. Just imagine how many liters of water you're going to save. So charity begins at home. I'll tell you, just give me a second. As usual, being an engineer, we always charge our mobile phone in the last minute. So my mobile phone charge is just 7%. Okay, I got it charged. So another project that I'm going to tell you, it was my first ever project that I did with school children when I started my journey as a conservation speaker. And I'm 100% sure that it's going to motivate you. So how many of you know, just raise your hand, how many of you know that the sparrow population, I hope you know sparrow, chidiya. How many of you know that the sparrow population in India has declined by 90% in the past 15 years? Raise your hand. Nobody knows about it. I can only see one hand. Please don't be afraid or don't be ashamed. You're not a national TV. Oh, they are going to laugh at me because I'm raising my hand. No. We're all going to talk like friends. You might think that I'm 30 years old. I might look like a 35-year-old uncle, but because I've also lost my hair, I have such a huge beard. I don't have kids. I'm not married. I'm just 24 years old. I'm almost of your age, to be very honest, though I don't look like one. So the most important thing is the sparrow population. You know the sparrow. हिंदी में उसको चिड़िया बोला जाता है. चिड़िया. The sparrow population in India has declined by 90% in the past 15 years due to a lot of human-induced factor, changes in the structure of the buildings where they used to make the nest, lack of vegetation and trees where they used to build their nest, because sparrows can't build their nest in every tree. They need specialized trees. We cut down the trees, so they don't have places to build nests. Then radiation from the cell phone towers, pollution, a lot of thing impacts. And sparrows are one of the, along with snakes, sparrows are one of the most important creatures on planet Earth that helps in agricultural productivity. I hope you know what is agricultural productivity. How much yield you have in every agricultural season, whether you're producing 100 kgs of rice or 1000 kgs of rice. So the sparrow population in India has reduced considerably by 90% in the past 15 years. So I got tied up to 6 schools in India, especially in Calcutta. I got tied up to 6 schools, and you won't believe what basically happened was all the school children collaborated and they built 300 plus artificial nest. Students from 6 schools across Calcutta, they built artificial sparrow nest. The number of nests was something above 300, around 310 or 320. They built around 300 plus artificial nests for sparrows to breed, lay eggs, give birth to the offspring. And in the following season, in June, July, when I reached their place, I was very happy to see that more than 70 to 80% of those nests were occupied by sparrows. Some of the nests were occupied by pigeons and crows. We can't stop that. More than 70% of the nests were occupied by the sparrows. They laid their eggs and gave birth to new offspring. This is called sparrow capacity building, which is very much needed in India, but rarely anybody or not the government is paying attention towards it. This is one such project that you can do. It takes only one day to build an artificial nest for a sparrow. All you need is gum, sellotape, and a cardboard, a used cardboard. There are certain scientific things, the inclination of the cardboard, how much slanted it need to be, how much sun rays should get inside. If you need, I'll send you the documents. It's very easy. It's just like an art and craft for class 6 to 7 student. And they did it. So just imagine 6 schools joining hands, building 300 plus nests for sparrows to breed. Just imagine the impact. Let me imagine every nest was responsible for at least 3 new sparrows being given birth, because when they lay 5 to 6 eggs, 2 to 3 eggs gets destroyed, or they gets wasted, or the new sparrows die. They're not able to survive. It's a natural process. So let me imagine, out of 300 sparrow nests, 270 nests were occupied by sparrows, and from every nest 3 new sparrows took birth. So 270 into 3 is how much? It's something around 600, 670, 740, 810. So 6 schools, more than 1200 students were responsible for giving birth to 840 new sparrows. Just imagine what huge impact it had on the sparrow population. This is what I call leadership. This is what I call community building. And this is the reason why I have a huge respect for your faculty, Mr. Ramji, and the entire Rajapalayam College, the way they have been supporting you towards your activities towards wildlife and environment. I know a lot of you might be, a lot of you are involved in the project of planting trees. I just got to know from Ramji sir that you planted 90 trees in the past 3 months. I had a discussion with Ramji sir where I actually said that why can't we plant 500 trees? Why can't we plant 500 trees in a span of 7 days? I guess 100 students from the college can join hands. Every student needs to take a responsibility of, I need to, so not just try to understand, when you build a community, and when you do a project, it's not only about building a team. It's not only about doing a project. You need to plan it accordingly. Now, if I want to scratch my nose, I have an itching on my nose. Now I can scratch my nose like this, or I can scratch my nose like this. So scratching my nose like this is an inefficiency, whereas I can do it the easy way. That is this. So when you build a team, when you do a project, you need to make sure that you are highly efficient. Now, what does efficiency mean is when you do any activity in the minimum possible time by making sure that you have to waste minimum possible energy. So if I have to, now for example, I give you a target of planting, have a discussion with Ramji sir, take out a week, dedicate a week where the actual task is going to be planting 500 trees in 7 days. You can dedicate those plantation to anyone. You can dedicate those plantation to our freedom fighters. You can dedicate those plantation to all our martyrs, our Indian soldiers who gave their life for the Galwan Valley clash with China. You can dedicate those plants to anybody as a goodwill. Make sure when you're planting those trees, dedicate those trees to a freedom fighter, to a national freedom fighter, or any army person, or any known celebrity who have done something good for the society, who have done something good for India. You can dedicate those plantation to them as well. So what I will suggest you is, the next time you plant 500 trees, okay, cut it short. Take a task of planting 500 trees in 7 days. Dedicate those 500 trees to the soldiers who gave a life at the border with China when the Galwan Valley clash took place around 3 to 4 months back. You can do that. Now, if I was in your college and if I had to plant, understand this clearly. If I was in your college and I had to plant 500 trees in 7 days, what I would have done is I would have chosen 110 people to do the project, and the responsibility of each and every student would be, I will be digging up 5 pits to plant those trees in 7 days, and I will be responsible for planting 5 trees in 7 days. Now, raise your hand up if you think that planting 5 trees in 7 days for you as an individual is easy. Raise your hand up. Are you can raise your hand up. A bit of exercise, you might have your biceps and triceps, everything. Be honest. Planting 5 trees in 7 days, is it going to be easy for you or not? Again, raise your hand up. Now raise your left hand, please. Left hand, no right hand. Raise your left hand if you think that planting 5 trees in 7 days is a very easy task for you. Raise your hand up. Now, if your girlfriend or boyfriend texts you, immediately you will take up the phone and reply to your girlfriend and boyfriend. If you see a photo of your crush on Instagram and Facebook or WhatsApp story, you will immediately move your fingers. That time you have energy, and now when I'm asking you to raise your hand, you don't have energy. Come on, what you are doing? Okay, so I don't know about you. A lot of guys might be, would love to sleep at their home, stalk their crush, watch movies, go out with a friend. A lot of girls might be wasting their time doing makeup to look beautiful in front of the mirror. It is highly possible. I'm not making a joke out of it. But I believe planting 5 trees in 7 days is a very easy task. It needs only 30 minutes to plant 5 trees, trust me. You will have a bit of workout, you'll become a bit of healthy, you'll have your biceps and triceps. But planting 5 trees and in 7 days, let me be very honest, it's easy. Now, digging up 5 pits in 7 days is a bit of tough task because you have to dig it. It's again going to be an interesting task for you because you're going to have a lot of fitness activity, physical activity. A lot of people might think, oh boy, I have to go out in the sun. I have to dig up for the plants to plant. I have to dig up a hole. I will sweat a lot. All the makeup will come down. The boys will say that I'll not look good. I'll turn black in the sun rays. I'll have heat stroke. But now Valentine's Day just went back. Had your crush called you for a date, you would have easily gone even 30 to 40 kilometers far. This is what I always talk about in my session. See, when you work towards wildlife and environment, all I can do is I can just talk like an uncle in front of the camera. But if you have that real love towards wildlife and environment, if you know what is there in the future, you know the high amount of risk where we are heading towards in the future, I don't need to force you. Ramji sir does not need to force you. Nobody needs to force you. You will take an initiative all by yourself, and you will also bring a lot of people along with you. I'm nobody to force you. There was a point of time when I was earning my first job that I got in Bangalore. I got a package of 10 lakhs per annum. You might have heard about this company called Byju's. I was earning 10 lakhs per annum, and I worked over there for 6 months. I was making 70 to 80,000 rupees a month as a fresher. There was a point of time I was so frustrated. The only point of time I was happy in my job was when salary used to get credited in my bank account. I used to be very happy. And I had money to go out on dates, spend on dates. I had money to travel across India, buy myself good clothes, good shoes, beard oils and beard products. But I wasn't happy in my job, and I quit my job after 6 months, and I had nowhere to go. There was a point of time around 1 to 1.5 months in Bangalore when I actually did a lot of side jobs to earn money, right? But I had that vision, I had that goal, I had that motivation that when I'm living on this in this planet Earth, I have to do something for it, to make sure that my children are able to survive on this planet Earth, right? And I took that decision. Nobody forced me. It was my complete decision. I might not be having enough money to buy luxurious cars or do show-offs on internet or buy rich clothes, buy clothes from Zara, but I'm happily leading my life because I'm able to do what I love to do. That is working towards wildlife and environment. All I need is सर के ऊपर एक छत होना चाहिए. There should be a roof on my top to stay, and I should be having food to eat, and I'm happy with the money that I'm earning, right? So these are certain things that I can force you. Now coming back to the point, when I'm giving you a task of planting 500 trees in 7 days, it's a pretty easy task. Every person have to take up the responsibility of planting 5 trees in 7 days. You can also plant 10 trees. And digging up 5 pits. So digging up 5 pits, I think boys can easily do it because they have to impress the girls at how much stamina and strength they have when it comes to digging up the pits. You can easily do it. And I believe a lot of guys, I'll also talk about this point, a lot of guys think that, oh, females, oh, girls, they are weak. How can they dig up the holes in the scorching heat of the sun? I believe the strongest human on planet Earth is our mother. We know how hard our mother works. Day and night she does things for us, and she never gets tired. So if any guys thinks like that, as women are weak, they can't do physical activity, you're quite wrong. I strongly believe even girls can dig up pits and holes inside the ground, maybe 1 feet or 2 feet. You can dig up the holes where the plants can be rooted over there. You can take much more better guidance from the teachers. So the idea is to plant. I hope Ramji sir is also hearing to this. The idea is to plant 500 trees in 7 days. Now I could have easily told you that let's plant 500 trees in 6 days. I could have easily told you let's plant 500 trees in 6 days. Sorry, 500 trees in 6 months. But did you wonder why did I say that plant 500 trees in 7 days? Now, if you have ever looked at how Japan does work, I hope everybody knows what Japan is, where Japan is. It's a country. Japan is not China. Japan and China are separate countries. For example, any earthquake happens over there, any natural disaster happens over there, every road, every bridges, every shops, everything destroyed in such natural calamities are restored back within 7 days. If I need to construct a bridge in India, it will take me 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. I'm still finding a bridge in Bangalore being constructed for the past 3 years. Here in Japan, they complete a bridge within 6 to 7 days or 10 to 12 days, depending on the length of the bridge. They easily do it. This is called the Japanese culture of working, which I want the Indian people to take up. Work in urgency, work in emergency, and work with a speed and work with efficiency. You can easily plant 500 trees in 6 months. It's very easy, very easy. But all I want you to do is take up the challenge of planting 500 trees in 7 days. If you can plant 500 trees in 3 days, if you can plant 500 trees in 1 day, the reason I want you to do is when you do this project, you will realize not a single person can be a hero. Even if you do actions like Rajnikant, or if you dress up like any Bollywood actress, still you can't be a hero in this project. When you do this project, you will realize you can't be a one-man hero, or you can't be a one-man army. You have to work as a team. If you have to plant 500 trees in 7 days, and that is when you will realize how to have a leadership quality and how to have a community, how to build a community. And when I talk about leadership are leaders. Leadership is all about leaders who work as a team, who has a team. Leaders will never tell you that you work under them. If I'm a leader, I will never tell you. If you're working in my project, I will never tell you that you're working under us. You're working under me. If I'm a leader and you're working in my project, I'm going to tell you that you're working with me. That is how leaders work. Leaders always encourage others, motivate others. Leaders never do partiality. Leaders always have a goal and make sure that by hook or by crook, I'm going to meet the deadline and get the project done. So the target for each and every student sitting in the hall today, watching to my session, let's plant 500 trees in 7 days. We have a discussion with the faculty. There's going to be a lot of hard work. There's going to be a lot of enjoyment. But as a team, I believe you can easily pull up 500 trees in 7 days. Now, I want you to raise your hand if you believe that as a team, your college can plant 500 trees in 7 days. Raise your hand if you believe that you can plant 500 trees in 7 days. I want energetic. ऐसा नहीं ये vote के लिए मैं थोड़ी ना vote मांग रहा हूँ. Am I asking for vote? Your hand raising a hand like this. I want that confidence and energy inside you. Can I believe that your college can plant 500 trees in 7 days? Raise your hands. Those two boys sitting in the front, one putting two fingers on the mouth. No need to feel shy. So, again, we have come almost to the end of the session. I just want to tell you the only reason why I do such sessions are nobody is there in the country to make us realize that why we should do such things. A lot of you might not be having the knowledge that how our activities are destroying the planet Earth. A lot of you might not be having the knowledge that how we are responsible for each and every aspect of planet Earth. Now, let me tell you an interesting experiment. I tell this in every of my session. This is the last part of the session. Listen to this very carefully. There was an experiment called the California experiment, right? Now, what exactly happened in the California experiment was, I'll just brief you down. So, a lot of you might be afraid of snakes. I have been working in snake conservation and snake bite mitigation for the past 7 years. I've rescued more than 500 plus snakes across the country. So my main expertise lies in reptile handling. Snakes ho gaya, crocodile ho gaya, kuch bhi ho gaya, right? So I know a lot of people might be afraid of snakes, but that does not mean I am a snake charmer. I'm not a snake charmer. I don't use all those musical instruments to woo snakes. I'm a snake rescuer and snake rehabilitator, and I work with snake bite victims, right? So a lot of people think, snakes bites us, let's kill snake. A lot of people, I have been to a lot of rescue scenarios, rescue cases, where I've gone to rescue snakes, and already the people over there out of fear have killed snakes. And they're like, Anna, what is the point of saving snake? It will bite us and we will die. One snake dead, how does it matter? It matters. I'll tell you how it matters. There was an experiment where a huge man-made artificial land was created and agriculture was done by them. Agriculture was being done by people over there. They were doing agriculture, and the agricultural yield was fantastic. So for the first 3 years, they were producing 10,000 kgs of rice every year. For the first 3 years, they were producing 10,000 kgs of rice. The first experiment that took place was they wiped out the whole snake population from that region. They killed all the snakes in that region where the agriculture was taking place. Now, guess what happened? The agricultural productivity went down by 47%. Earlier, they were producing 10,000 kgs of rice. Now they are only able to produce around 5,300 kgs of rice. Earlier, they were producing 10,000 kgs of rice. Now, when the snakes are being removed, now they are producing only 5,300 kgs of rice. Why? Snakes are a very important part of the food chain. They are one of the most important friends of farmers. They eat away all those pests that actually destroy the crop or infect the crop. I'm talking about the rodents. I'm talking about the rats and mice and rodents. They destroy the crop. If there are no snakes, the population of rats, mice, rodents, and pests will increase tenfold. If the snakes don't eat them, when their population increases 10 times faster than humans. So when the population increases, they'll destroy the crops and there won't be much better agricultural yield. So when they remove the snake population from the region, you can see the impact. The second experiment that they carried out was a lot of time bees or wasps enter our house and we try to kill them. Now, the reason we kill them is we are afraid that they're going to bite us and we are going to have fever, we might die. but those are bees and wasps. They're not like our ex-girlfriend, they're not like our ex-boyfriend, or they're not like humans that they will harm you without any reason. They won't harm you without any reason. So we kill a lot of bees and wasps, and we are like, oh, that's a small organism, that's a small animal. How does it even matter if we kill one bee? The second experiment in the California experiment was they wiped out the whole bee population, and the agricultural productivity went down below 50%. When they removed all the bees from the region, earlier they were producing 10,000 kgs of rice, now they are producing lesser than 5,000 kgs of rice, because bees are one of the most important agents of pollination. Without pollination, how are you going to have crops? So now you can understand that how even the small aspects of environment are important for our survival. And all these animals, whether the snakes, whether the birds, whether the bees, are getting hampered by our human activities, are getting hampered by climate change and global warming. And we are 95% responsible for what is happening in the ecology. If we break the ecological balance, we are going to suffer. You look at in the last, I'll tell you another interesting stat. In the past 10 years, the amount of lung diseases, the amount of respiratory diseases, the amount of cancer issues across the country, the amount of health issues across the country, from talking about India, has increased by 69.4% according to United Nations. It has increased by 69.4%. What is the reason? The majority of the reason is the pollution, climate change, global warming, lack of drinking water, toxic groundwater. Who are to blame? We humans. This is the reason. If anybody have that question in your mind that why do we need to work towards wildlife and environment, this is the reason why you need to work towards wildlife and environment. I can't force you. Ramji sir can't force you. If you understand the emergency, if you understand the urgency, if you understand the need, you will take action towards wildlife and environment. So what I'm really looking forward from the campus, from the Rajapalayam College, from all of you students and Ramji sir and the Nature Club is the target of planting 500 trees as a team, as a community in the next 7 days. Any day, any 7 days you select, maybe after 1 month, maybe after 2 weeks, as a team, more than 100 people involved. I don't want it to be done by 50 people or 60 people. I want it to be done by a huge family of 100 people. 50, 500 trees in the next 7 days, and I think it's highly possible. And when you do it, not only you're taking a big step towards environment conservation, you're also sending a strong message to other youngsters across the country. You're going to motivate them, you're going to encourage them. And this is the reason why each and every of your action is very important. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today. I don't take much time about in my session. All I talk about are the common sense and the common belief and the common practices that I've been practicing in the past 8 years, so that you get a hint, you get a bit of knowledge about how you can carry your own wildlife and environmental activities. Now, you might be having your own idea that I can do this for wildlife and environment, I can do this project. Feel free to get in touch with me on Facebook and Instagram. My name is Nirit Datta, Niritdatta. It's a very uncommon name. And you can get touch with me. You can take my number from Ramji sir. You can get in touch with Ramji sir. Any point of time you have idea, you need help, you need guidance, I'm always there. Ramji sir is always there. But make sure you plant 500 trees, take up that project, plant 500 trees in 7 days, not 8 days, not 9 days, not 1 month, but 7 days. And that is when you're going to realize that how to make a team, how to work as a team in spite of ego differences, ego issues, attitude issues, enmities, breakups, anything. How you can work as a team, how you can show leadership qualities, and how you can send a strong message to the rest of the country. I want you to be an example. I want you to be an example. I want you to be used as an example across the country when I do my future sessions, where I would love to talk about you and your achievements. Ramji sir and the whole Rajapalayam Raju's College, that's all from my side. And if any student has any question, I'm ready to take up 3 to 4 questions, and then we can call it quits. Anybody from the admin, you can turn your audio.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir.
There is a question from our student.
Okay, sir. Give me a second, sir. Everybody of you now, see here, I'm not in front of you. I know had I been in front of you, you might have been afraid by looking at my place, which looks like a terrorist. I know. So there shouldn't be anything of a shame that I might ask a silly question. I must ask a weird question. My friends might laugh at me, or sir might laugh at me. Any question you have in your mind, even if you want to ask me, sir, how much is 2 plus 2? I'll tell you 4. No worries about that. How
Sure.
silly the question might be, just ask me the question. Yes, sir, we can take the first question.
Okay.
So you have told us that only on 7 days, within 7 days, we must plant 500 trees.
Mm-hmm.
What is the use of it, and why should you tell that within 7 days we must plant trees?
Mm-hmm.
Listen,
Can you please repeat your question? It's not audible. Can you just repeat your question once again?
you have given us time period that 7 days to plant 500 trees, sir. Why do
Mm-hmm.
limitation of 7 days to plant 500 trees, and what is the use of it, and why do you insist us to do within 7 days?
So your question is, why have I asked you to plant the tree in 7 days and not 20 days and 30 days, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I talked about the Japanese culture of working. You remember the Japanese culture of working? Even if they have to construct a bridge, they will do it in 7 days. In India, for a bridge, it takes 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year to construct a bridge, right? If I now just imagine COVID struck India, now India is doing fantastic in handling the COVID vaccinations, everything. But before the vaccination, India was very poor when it was coming to setting up hospitals, makeshift hospitals to accommodate more and more patients, because every hospital was full. So the government had the task to set up new temporary hospitals in a span of less days, and the government failed to do so. Whereas if you go to China, you will see they constructed hospitals within 3 days, temporary hospitals within 3 days to treat COVID patients. This is what you call urgency, this is what you call need, and this is what you call teamwork. Now why I ask you to do it in 7 days is, if I asked you to do it in 20 days or 30 days, or had I asked you to do it in 6 months, it would have been very easy to you. But you only grow as a human when you break your limits, right? You only grow as a human when you break your limits. Now you can eat 200 kgs of chicken in one day. Let's eat 400 kgs of chicken in one day, or 400 kgs of mutton in one day. So the reason why I ask you to do it in 7 days is to break your limits. And when you do it in 7 days, it's not going to happen 100 people are going to come and plant trees. If there is no coordination among the team members, if no tasks are assigned to the team members, if there are no proper leaders to look after the project, you won't learn how to manage a team, you won't learn how to act as a leader, you won't learn how to do projects. In the future, it might happen that you might be doing a job, you might be a government employee. There also you have to do projects, and those are going to be high profile projects, and those are going to be high stress projects. Now just imagine, every year throughout the year you don't study, but 7 to 8 days before the exam, how you study? You understanding? 7 to 8 days or 1 week before the exam, you study like hell. You study day and night. You eat coffee, you eat Maggie, you study. How are you able to manage a year syllabus within 7 to 8 days? When you can, now you're understanding, when you can complete the syllabus of 4 to 5 months within 1 week or 2 weeks before the exam, why can't you do a work of 6 months of planting 500 trees in 7 days? So when you will do it in 7 days, you will realize that you need coordination among the team members. Proper tasks need to be designated to proper people. Leaders need to take up the responsibility. Every team member needs to take up the responsibility, and you have to meet the target with a deadline. And when you will do this project, you will realize what new things you have learned. It might happen, boss, in the future you will work in a private sector, you might work in a government sector, you will have your own business. There also you have to manage people, you have to manage tasks, and those are going to be more high stressful tasks. And this is where you're going to learn, this is where you're going to break your limits.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, another one question.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Hi, sir. At the end of the section, we learned a lot, sir. Thank you for your wonderful section. My question is about what type of tree we have to plant, sir.
What type of tree you have to plant? So, may I know that what type of trees you have already planted in your campus?
Sir, it is fully based on birds. Fruit.
You have
Sir.
fruit-based trees, right?
All type of trees we have planted, sir.
So, whenever I get plantations done, if I talk about my state, if I talk about Goa, if I talk about Calcutta, I always prefer two trees. One is a mango tree and one is a neem tree. And another tree I prefer, but there needs to be a lot of scientific knowledge behind planting that tree, and it's going to take a years and years of patience. That is a banyan tree. Banyan tree will take years, but if you can plant a banyan tree and wait for the next 10 years, but if you plant a banyan tree, you don't even know that how important it is. Banyan trees play probably the biggest role when it comes to controlling climate change and global warming. I'll suggest to also go for mango trees and neem trees as well because they grow quite fast. Any tree, any species of tree that grows quite fast, it might happen you might buy trees, you're getting trees from donation. You can also, another thing that I'll suggest to you is every district of Tamil Nadu or every district in every part of the country have a subdivision of the forest department, and every forest department has a nursery where they give you the saplings for 10 rupees or 5 rupees, and they give you a complete knowledge that according to the soil conditions of your region, which trees are suitable to faster growth. So the best thing for you is going to be go to the subdivision of the forest department one day, go to the nursery, they teach you for free, they'll talk to you for 30 minutes, they'll brief you out and come back with the saplings from them. So if you ask me, I always prefer neem trees, banyan trees, and mango trees. But the most important part is a lot of my trees got wasted in the initial days because the students of those colleges were not taking proper care of the trees for the first 2 months. So you need to go and make sure whether water system over there is good or not, whether anybody is watering or not, which time of the year you're planting the tree, whether it's during the monsoon season or not. So there are certain things that you need to take care of.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And one more thing I want to add to this, one more thing that I want to add to all the students, that is that when you next time, when everything is dropping down due to COVID, everything is fine. Just try to understand this thing. When you work towards biodiversity, wildlife, environment conservation, make sure that you are trying to bring more and more people in and educate them. So once after March and April, every COVID thing drops down, vaccination is finally out, and the schools have started. Whenever you are carrying out a plantation drive in your college area, make sure you invite 2 to 3 schools in that project. You get the school children to do it. So not only you are doing, you are also educating other school children because they're young children, they are the young age, and it's very easy to change their brain and mindset towards wildlife and environment. So when the schools reopen, invite 2 to 3 schools, bring 100 200 school children, and ask them to plant the trees over there. So not only you are doing it yourself, you are also educating other people. India needs education about two things. One is financial literacy, and second is environment conservation. India lacks in it. So this is what you call leadership. Not only you do activities and tasks and meet your goal, you also try to make more and bring in more and more people and make them like you. You need to educate and inspire others. So make sure you be the inspiration.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir,
Okay, sir.
Sir, another one thing I want to convey that, sir, we
Yeah.
have planted here about 90 trees in last 3 months, I think so, sir.
Yeah.
But all the 90 trees were planted in just one day. We planted it and we worked it, and we have planted. We have planted near about 90 trees. All the 90 trees we have planted for the birds, and all
For
90
birds, yeah.
is a different type of fruit. Only because of birds we have planted all such 90 trees. Based on we should have only fruits. That's only we have planted that. all the birds should come and sit there and have to there. And also we have planned some flowers also, which can come and have something to take that.
Okay, okay, sir, got it. So I think planting 500 trees in 7 days is going to be, it's going to be a doable task for all of us, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, sir.
Sir, and also I want to convey another one thing, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, here it is summer now.
Yeah,
Here it is summer now. Summer season is going on now. It started now.
yes, summer season is going on,
Going on
and
now.
and monsoon
Even,
will approach around May, April, May, June.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And according to this summer, and what are the plants should be planted in this area, sir?
So you can go with neem, because the neem tree, the biggest advantage of neem tree is it grows huge and it has medicinal properties, and the neem trees requires less groundwater to grow. So you can go with neem trees as well during summer. The water intake for neem trees is quite less, so only for the first 1 month you need to provide it with basic water, and then its roots will seep down deep inside the ground to take up the water from the groundwater. So I think during summer season, during arid season, neem trees are quite suitable
Okay, sure, sir. Sir, already we are having near about I think about 200 neem trees.
in our campus.
Yes, sir, fully.
So we can plant more. We can also go with mango trees. We can go with another trees that we can do that also requires less water. That is guava trees. You can go with guava trees, and you can go with chiku trees. Chiku trees and guava trees you can go.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Sir, okay, thank you, sir. Can we conclude, sir?
Yes. Thank you so much, sir, for having me in the session, and thanks to all the students for taking out the time, sitting over there patiently. Make sure that whatever I've told, just get it done, get it implemented, and Google is there. All you do is get knowledge. Anywhere help you need, anything you need to know, just get in touch with me on Instagram, and you can also get in touch with sir. If you want my number, you can take my number from sir, and make sure that you be the difference. We always talk about change. Government is not doing this, government is not doing that. It's the people which makes the government. First we need to change. We just can't expect government to do everything. To bring the change, you need to be change yourself. I wish you luck. I wish luck to all the college students as well as the members of the nature club and Ramji sir as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.